Hi guys. This is GrimV. I have another creepy and spine-chilling story to tell. Have you ever answered a call and immediately regretted it? Well, I did. It was 11:45 p.m. when my phone rang. The caller ID showed an unknown number, but I picked it up anyway. A slow, deliberate breath came through the line before a voice spoke. "You start tonight." No introduction. No confirmation of my name. Just that. I hesitated. Who is this?" "The manager," the voice said flatly. Something about the way he spoke unsettled me. Like he was reading from a script. "All right," I muttered. "When do I?" The line went dead. No interview, no schedule. Nothing. If you ever worked the night shift in a giant, empty store, you know how unnatural it feels. The aisles stretch out forever, the fluorescent lights hum constantly, and no matter how many cameras they install, there are always blind spots. I didn't think about that when I accepted the night shift at a local superstore. Rent was due, and I needed cash. It was supposed to be simple, just restocking shelves and making sure no one walked out with unpaid items. I figured I'd just listen to music, do my work, and go home. But the moment I stepped inside, I realized something was very wrong. I reached the store that never closes. But it is always empty. I arrived at 11:58 p.m. The doors slid open automatically, and a rush of stale air hit my face. I stepped inside. The automatic doors slid shut behind me with a loud thud, louder than it should have been. The store was massive, but eerily silent. Every aisle was stocked perfectly. The lights buzzed overhead, flickering just enough to make me uneasy. The self-checkout machines were on, their screens glowing in the dim store. But there was no one inside. No employees. No customers. No managers. Just me. Then, I saw the tablet on the front desk. A sticky note was stuck to it. "Read this first." I picked it up and tapped the screen. A single document was open. Night shift protocol. 1 between 12 a.m. and 12:15 a.m., you may hear the doors open and close. Do not check. No one is there. 2 If you see someone browsing aisle 14, do not approach them. They do not like to be seen. They will know. 3 At 1 a.m., you will receive a mobile notification from an unknown sender. Do not open it. Delete it immediately. 4 If a woman in soaking wet clothes enters the store, she will ask you for help. Do not answer. Do not look at her directly. If she stops speaking, hide immediately. 5 Between 2:30 a.m. and 2:45 a.m., the security cameras will turn to face you. Stay completely still. They will reset if you do not move. 6 If you see a shopping cart moving on its own, turn around and count to 10 before looking again. 7 If you hear your own voice over the intercom, leave the building immediately. Your shift is over. I read the list twice. Then, the automatic doors slid open again. I felt something just walked in. A wave of cold air swept through the store. I gripped the tablet tighter and stared straight ahead. A minute passed. Then another. Nothing. I forced myself to breathe and turned toward the aisles. They were still empty. I grabbed a pricing gun and started my shift. But I knew I wasn't alone. At 12:14 a.m., I heard it. A faint, almost imperceptible sound, a soft scrape, like something shifting against the shelves. It wasn't loud, but in the dead silence of the near-empty store, it might as well have been a gunshot. My breath hitched, and an uneasy chill ran down my spine. Instinctively, I turned my head ever so slightly toward the source. Aisle 14. A woman stood there. Her back faced me, her posture rigid, unnatural. At first glance, nothing seemed off. She was dressed casually, in jeans, a hoodie, and sneakers, just like any other late-night shopper. But something about her sent alarm bells ringing in my head. She wasn't moving. Not browsing. Not scrolling through her phone like anyone else would be. Just standing there. Completely still. I swallowed hard, my fingers tightening around the shopping basket in my hand. Slowly, cautiously, I took a step back, careful not to make a sound. My pulse pounded in my ears. Then, her head twitched. Not a normal turn. Not a slow, curious glance. Just a twitch. A sharp, unnatural jerk, like a glitched frame in a corrupted video file. My stomach clenched, and my breathing grew shallow. Do not approach them. The rule echoed in my mind, a desperate warning. They do not like to be seen. They will know. I forced my gaze away, keeping my movements controlled, my pace steady. Act normal. Do not react. Do not let them know. As I turned the corner, my eyes flicked up just for a second to the convex security mirror mounted on the ceiling. She was facing me now. And she was smiling. A slow, unnatural grin stretched across her face, wide and wrong. What the hell was that? The thought slammed into my mind, but I swallowed the scream threatening to rise in my throat. My fingers curled into a fist as I fought to steady my breathing. This wasn't my imagination. This was real. I was having a truly fearful conversation with myself. Then, at exactly 1 a.m., my phone vibrated. A single notification appeared on the screen. The sender was unknown. Are you alone? It read. A nauseating wave of dread rolled through me. My hands trembled as I gripped my phone tighter. Everything was happening just as the rules described. No more second guessing. No more hesitation. I needed to follow them. And as per the Rule 3, at 1 a.m., you will receive a mobile notification from an unknown sender. Do not open it. Delete it immediately. My thumb hovered over the delete button, but doubt crept in. What if? Another message read. You shouldn't be. The air grew dense, pressing against my chest like a heavy weight. The fluorescent lights above flickered, the buzz of electricity suddenly too loud, too erratic. The self-checkout screen glitched. Numbers blinked in and out, meaningless digits flashing faster than I could process. Delete it. Delete it. Delete it now. I pressed the button. The second I did, something moved behind the counter. I was literally trembling. My body wasn't just reacting to fear, it was reacting to something else. Something deeper. Something unnatural. This superstore was alive. Not in a metaphorical way. Not in the way a place feels unsettling at night. No, this place knew I was here. It was watching, shifting, reacting to me in ways I couldn't fully understand. And then, at exactly 1:37 a.m., the automatic doors slid open again. The sound sent a bolt of pure dread through me. I knew what was coming before I even turned around. I knew because I had read the rules. Because the pattern was repeating itself. A woman. She stood there, unmoving, her clothes soaking wet. Her jeans clung to her legs, heavy with water. Her hoodie sagged, dripping onto the floor in slow, steady drops. Her sneakers made a sickening squelching noise as she stepped forward, leaving behind dark, glistening footprints on the tiles. She was shivering. Violently. Her arms were wrapped tightly around herself, her fingers digging into her sleeves. Then, through chattering teeth, she spoke. Please, she gasped. her voice fragile and broken. "Can you help me?" I clenched my jaw, forcing my hands to grip the metal shelf beside me. My nails dug into the cold steel as I fought against every natural instinct telling me to respond. "Don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer." She sucked in a sharp, trembling breath. "Hello." I kept my gaze locked on the reflection in the freezer door. The glass was fogged up near the edges, but I could still see her outline, her damp, shaking form standing just a few feet behind me. If a woman in soaking wet clothes enters the store, she will ask you for help. Do not answer. Do not look at her directly. I kept repeating the rule in my mind. A dark puddle spread beneath her feet, the water seeping into the grout lines between the tiles. She took a step closer. "Please. I think someone's following me." My fingers dug deeper into the shelf. The metal was cold, grounding me. I focused on the feeling, on the pressure, anything to drown out the unbearable urge to turn around. And then, she stopped speaking. My stomach dropped. A sharp chill ran up my spine, curling around my ribcage like an icy hand. The rule. If she stops speaking, hide. Immediately. I didn't hesitate. I backed away slowly, each step measured and careful. Then, the moment I rounded the corner, I ran. Bolting toward the stockroom, I didn't dare look back. The moment my fingers touched the door handle, I yanked it open and threw myself inside. I slammed the door shut and crouched low, pressing my back against the wall, hard hammering so hard it hurt. Then, the wet footsteps started again. Squelch. Squelch. The sound grew louder. Closer. Right outside the door. Then, bang. I jumped as the door rattled in its frame. Another bang. The second hit was harder. My breath caught in my throat. A third. The whole door shuddered, the hinges groaning under the impact. Then suddenly, silence. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I stayed curled up in that freezing stockroom, arms wrapped around my knees, staring at the door until my vision blurred. Minutes passed. Maybe an hour. When I finally checked the time, it was 2:30 a.m. I was exhausted. Completely drained. My body felt weak, my mind stretched thin. The nightmare wasn't ending. It just kept going. I forced myself to keep working. Anything to distract myself. I was restocking frozen pizzas, trying to focus on something normal, when the rules flashed in my mind again. Rule 5, between 2:30 a.m. and 2:45 a.m., the security cameras will turn to face you. Stay completely still. They will reset if you do not move. A cold dread spread through my chest. Slowly, I lifted my head. The cameras had moved. Every single one. The cameras above the aisles. The ones near the checkout lanes. Even the tiny camera above the freezer section. All of them. Facing me. Watching. My entire body locked up. Stay completely still. They will reset if you do not move. I obeyed. Seconds ticked by. My muscles screamed, but I didn't dare shift. A minute passed. Another. Then. Whirr. The cameras rotated, turning back to their original positions. As if nothing had ever happened. I let out a shaky breath, pressing my palms together. My legs felt weak, my hands clammy with sweat. But I was still here. "Please, God," I begged silently. "Let me be bored. Let me be so bored I start counting tiles on the floor. I don't want anything else. No more rules. No more sounds. No more things." Just let the rest of the night crawl by in dull, mind-numbing peace. But, of course, at 3:30 a.m., I heard it. A slow, rhythmic squeak. It echoed softly across the empty aisles, stretching through the silence of the store. I turned my head slightly, just enough to catch a glimpse. A lone shopping cart rolled past the end of my aisle. No one was pushing it. My breath caught in my throat. My fingers tightened around the cardboard box I was holding. The rule. I knew what to do. Turn around. Count to 10. Then look again. I swallowed hard and forced my eyes shut. 1, 2, 3. The cart's wheels screeched. A slow, piercing sound that made my skin crawl. 4, 5, 6. The noise stopped. 7, 8, 9. Silence. 10. I opened my eyes and turned my head. The cart was gone. But on the floor, right where it had been, was a single, wet footprint. I inhaled sharply. The kind of footprint you leave behind when you step out of a puddle. Dark. Soaked. Fresh. I want to go home. I don't care about finishing my shift. I don't care about the money. I don't even care if I get fired. This place is wrong. Every inch of it is infected with something I don't understand, something that bends reality like it's a loose thread on a sweater. I made my decision. Before anything else could happen, before the next rule came into play. I was leaving. But just as I started to move, I heard it. At 3:57 a.m., my own voice crackled over the intercom. At first, it was just my name. Over and over and over again. A robotic echo bouncing off the empty aisles. Then, it laughed. A deep, distorted version of my own laugh. Warped and broken, stretching unnaturally through the speakers, twisting into something that wasn't me anymore. That was it. I dropped everything. The box hit the floor with a dull thud, and I ran. I didn't look back. Didn't stop. Didn't care about the rules anymore. I tore through the aisles, past the self-checkout, past the registers, past the automatic doors. And the moment I crossed the threshold, everything went silent. Not just quiet silent. Like the air had been sucked out of the world. The fluorescent lights flickered once. Then, behind me, there was nothing. No store. No parking lot lights. No shopping carts lined up outside. Just an empty lot. A stretch of dirt and cracked pavement. My legs nearly gave out beneath me. I reached for my phone with shaking fingers. The screen lit up. A single notification. Your shift has ended. We'll see you tomorrow. I stared at it. My hands went cold. I wanted to scream. But instead, I just stood there. Alone. In an empty lot. With nowhere left to go.